Cooley's had no idea what to expect against Villarreal to kick off another Liga campaign. The club is in complete disarray behind the scenes. Messi doesn't want to be there, and Villarreal, by mine, a lot of experts' assertions, had the best transfer window of any team in the Liga. But as I've spoken about on the pod, my optimism this season came from the fact that football was played on the field and not in the boardroom. And under Ronald Koeman and with all the new blood, Barca could just be good this year regardless of all the other chaos. Now I know it's just one game, but hey, maybe Barca are just good this year. And speaking of new blood, yes, I am very excited that Barca seemed to have won the race against Bayern Munich for Jordi Alba. That's the kind of deal that I am happy to be wrong about. Today we're talking Villarreal though, but don't worry, I'll be talking plenty about Dest on the podcast and everywhere else about the young American that is the best fullback prospect, not finished product, but raw talent that Barca have had in a long time. But back to Villarreal. While on the subject of things that haven't happened in a long time, history did tell us that transfer windows be damned. Barca always beat the Yellow Submarine at home. In fact, La Blaugrana last lost at the Camp Nou to Villarreal back in 2008. History also tells us to trust Barca in home openers. The last home opener they lost, the Spanish Civil War had just ended, and Barca started the 1939-40 season with a 1-0 loss to Espanyol, a season they would finish 9th in the Liga. The lineup that Koeman fielded was the expected lineup. I'm not going to start jumping and calling it a Gala 11, but until Pjanic gets match fit, it does make sense as a preferred group in the preferred formation. It was a 4-2-3-1 with Neto in net, Alba, Lenglet, Piqué, Roberto at the back, no surprises there, De Jong and Busquets a double pivot, then Fati, Coutinho, Griezmann behind Messi. It should be noted that's the attacking formation, because we'll talk about the defensive formation and pressing in a bit. I also wouldn't get too caught up in the idea of Messi in the middle and Griezmann on the right. That was extremely fluid, and they moved well during build-ups. This game was obviously over in the first half, and the biggest reason was that Villarreal were a little too casual in pressing Barca's back line. The first two goals coming within minutes of each other and being almost mirror images. In the first few moments of the match, it really looked like Jordi Alba could get exposed by Villarreal, who were looking to work their attack through Chukwueze on the right. That did wind up being the key to this match, but surprisingly, the other way around. Barca has not had a player like Fati with a combination of speed, strength, and finishing from the wing since Neymar. And between Fati and Chukwueze, Fati was the more dangerous today. The first goal, though, is a lot of credit to Lenglet. I've always been critical of his long passing. It's a quality that neither Araujo nor Lenglet do particularly well. But every now and again, the Frenchman can feed a beautiful ball from the back. He did just that to break two lines of Villarreal's press, and Barca were off to the races. Lenglet to Alba, who got to his usual spot, and a terrific one-time finish from Fati. He knew where he was planting that ball before it ever got to him. It was a great finish. But I also have to call out the three Villarreal players that decided to go with Griezmann towards the near post, leaving Fati completely unmarked. A few minutes later, and it was almost deja vu, just replacing Alba with Coutinho in the build-up. Lenglet to Coutinho straight through the middle. Villarreal were slow to dispossess, and Fati was given way too much time and space to get his second goal. That's the second La Liga brace of his career, and he's still just 17 years old, by the way. I said that it would be a positive sign if he got 12 goals in his sophomore campaign, and while every game won't be like this one, that seems very conservative at this point. Maybe Barcelona will be able to make up for Luis Suarez's production, who also scored a brace for Atletico today. The internet will be letting you know about the good from Fati, but I do want to mention the reminders in this game that he still has things to improve. He clearly wanted his hat-trick, and in the 30th minute Messi gave him quite a talking to when he cut off Messi's run for what should have been the third goal of the game at that point. There was also two occasions where Fati tried dummies to teammates that led to counterattacks for Villarreal down his wing. And since Alba was playing so high, that's not a smart play in that position. Yet, to finish our compliment sandwich, good, bad, good, Fati's defensive positioning was certainly a bright side. There is a reason that Chukwueze was not his usual self today, and that had a lot to do with the way that Barca helped one another and worked hard to win the ball back. Now is probably the time to mention Griezmann, as by the 30th minute, Barca had attacked down the left 8 times, 7 times through the middle, and once from the right. But unlike those who will tell you that that stat means that Griezmann and Roberto were utter garbage, that doesn't happen because of individual players. That was clearly determined either prior to the match or as Fati was having some success. It also happens because Messi is cutting from the right to the left and looking for a diagonal ball to Alba, and Coutinho is usually shading to the left and working inside. To me, this is a compliment to Koeman for making all those puzzle pieces work at this point. Was Coutinho mind-bendingly awesome? No, of course not. Is it worrisome that Griezmann doesn't look like he can get involved in the attack outside of bringing defenders his way? Of course it is. But by keeping Griezmann and Roberto at home on the right side, that allows Alba and Fati to menace the left flank. There is, dare I say, some balance to how the team is set up right now. The only actual worrying sign was that Griezmann was making a ton of those David Villa runs in behind, and De Jong, Busquets, Messi, Roberto, and Coutinho all looked him off. There wasn't even an attempt. A professional is going to be expected to always make that run for the good of the team, but I'm a little concerned if he is never rewarded for making those runs in the first place. Not because he'll disengage, that could happen, but because other teams will game plan for that and look for overloads after he's made that run. But back to the good stuff. The third goal comes from De Jong taking up a higher position as Griezmann and Messi are both making themselves available between the midfield and the defense, then laying off the ball to Fati and the 17-year-old going to work. He wins the penalty off Mario Gasper, a soft one I must say, but he did sell the contact that was there, so fair play, and I don't think many would argue that it was a penalty. Messi slots home, and the game is pretty much over at that point. I say that, but in the 40th minute, I was pleased to see that Barca were still all out pressing. And I did notice that De Jong and Busquets were taking turns today defending as a lone defensive midfielder in what was a 4-1-4-1 at times, but usually only when Villarreal were trying to build out from the back. It originally looked like Busquets would be the deeper of the two, but I'm not sure how it was decided who would play where and when. It could have been something as simple as when the attack breaks down, whichever player was farther forward takes up shop there in the middle. I think the formations work to get the best out of everybody, and hopefully both De Jong and Busquets can put today behind them. Busquets was not good enough in the first half, misplaying passes galore and putting Barca in trouble. And De Jong took that baton in the second half, giving the ball away late in a sloppy bout of overconfidence near his own box. I've warned against trying to read the tea leaves and overanalyze Messi's body language, but he also wasn't great today. He smiled more as the goal started to pour in, but he just didn't look entirely himself. It's totally fair if he had heard about Suarez's 2 goals pre-game and was feeling a little melancholy. But leading up to that 4th goal, he did remind us why having a balanced squad around him can still lead to Barca wins even if he's not at his best. You just need 30 good seconds from Messi and you have a goal. Remember Griezmann? Well, he starts what led to the own goal with a nice through ball very deep in his own end to Fati, who fell, maybe fouled, and Messi picked up the ball. And then Messi turned and Barca were off. De Jong gave the 1-2, and Messi tried to deliver the cross into Arturo Busquets. Sergio Busquets. But Pau Torres got the own goal himself. Not much to say about the second half. The match was over, neither team wanted injuries, we only saw 1 yellow card and it was Gerard Moreno against Piqué. A caution was zero surprise if you remember some of the history between those two when the former was at Espanyol. But it is positive to see Barca flex their deep bench at this point in the season. 70th minute it was Pedri for Coutinho and Dembélé for Fati. Then in the 78th, Trincao for Griezmann and Pjanic for Busquets. My favorite thing about these subs is you have like-for-like replacements ready to go. Braithwaite is the backup striker behind Messi, so even when he's healthy, it's fine if he doesn't get many minutes. And then the other front 5 all have backups that can do similar jobs. Notable plays from this foursome was a Trincao shot, Pedri and Dembélé beating pressure, and Pedri looking like he belongs, Dembélé still not getting injured, knock on wood, and Pjanic getting to take the late free kick instead of Messi. Not seeing Puig was a disappointment, but that's not surprising either. Let's be patient there for both him and Alenya and see how Koeman rotates. I want to wrap this up with some Jordi Alba talk though. Barca are in trouble with Jordi Alba as their undisputed starter for the entire Liga campaign. Junior Firpo still looks way behind, and Alba just doesn't have the physical tools anymore to do it game in and game out. It would not surprise me at all if Koeman used Dest more often on the left since he is a more similar player to Alba, and keep Roberto at home on the right side. But if Alba keeps playing like he did today, we're just going to have to stop our whining until he again takes the wind out of our sails. His 112 touches were the most on the pitch today, 1 assist, 1 big chance created, 3 key passes, won 4 of his 6 duels, and 2 of 2 unsuccessful dribbles. An awesome day at the office for Jordi Alba, a player that most Kool-Aids would admit that the club should have moved on from. And an awesome way to kick off the Liga for Barcelona. Francesca and I will be waxing poetic about this one and the Dest signing early this week before Barca is back on Thursday against Celta de Vigo. In the meantime, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. And as always, until next time, Forza Barca.